the Pullum industrial stuff. And let's take a moment to go.
Should we say? Let's say the Pullum dynasty.
Yeah, let's take a moment to go over that now, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been well chronicled on this TV show. We found emails where the Pullum entity was constantly asking Gordon Gooden, "How are my sidewalks?"
Why don't you call that the Pullum experience?
The Pullum experience. We were wondering when the Pullum experience sidewalks were going to be completed.
Yes.
We have well chronicled on this show the Navarre Town Center, which very quickly, folks, it had the appearances of having the community involved in it. But amazingly enough, Hurricane Ivan hits and nobody's got a roof left. And a couple weeks later, they keep on having meetings even though none of the regular citizens could show up.
What they did was they had a bunch of make work time sessions where everybody participated. And then when it came down to actually deciding basically whether the high rises would be allowed,
right,
all of a sudden there was an executive group
right,
that was handpicked by a few members, and the executive group made that decision.
Right. So that's another part of the Pullum experience. And of course, as well chronicled on Santa Rosa Week TV and no other news media, and the state attorney's office certainly wouldn't do anything about it, was a series of emails where we illegally polled 3 county commissioners. Cindy Anderson did, to find out which way they wanted to go, and she found out by asking them that they were good to go on the purchase of the Pullum property. Then we go forward. They wanted to buy the 45 1-acre lots, but they realized that there was a sunshine issue there, so they had to wheel around and buy the 90 acres in the interior. And I would like to say, for the record, that Gordon Gooden, Don Salter, and Bob Cole, who is up for re-election, all 3 said it's a shovel-ready project. Gordon Gooden went on to say that I can stand on the side of the road and see the trucks passing from this property, and it's something that we must have. We have to have it in our inventory. And the other 3 commissioners agreed with him. And then,
go ahead.
Let me stick this final one in.
Get this in.
An appraisal for $900,000, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. It was a legitimate appraisal by a professional appraisal individual licensed in the state of Florida. He said it was worth $900,000. Mr. Pullum thought it was worth 3.4. Cindy Anderson shoves another appraisal through the system that comes up with a 3.2 at her request, not at the county's request. Came in at 3.2, and we agreed to go ahead and give Mr. Pullum, just split the difference, is what I was told.
For property with no platted land or...
No platted land. I will refer you, go on YouTube, go back to the Shovel Ready tour. There's not a water line. There's not a power line. There's not a road. There's nothing but trees and dirt there, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I just emphasize something?
Go ahead.
Every example that you just mentioned that we call the Pullum experience, it involved incidences where something related to Mr. Pullum's property was involved, but the county commission acted in ways that might be construed as questionable. And our focus is on the county commission on all those instances. We weren't speaking specifically about Mr. Pullum and the money that he may or may not have made off them. We were talking about how the county commission acted.
Well, exactly. I mean, does the entire planning and zoning staff, do 3 of the 5 commissioners, does the entire staff at Team Santa Rosa, do they all have to work for the Pullum experience? That's my question.
Right.
And what you saw, ladies and gentlemen, was an exchange between J.D. Cooey and the Board of County Commissioners. And what we're talking about here, folks, and my point, and certainly I made my point over and over because specifically Bob Cole's a little hard of hearing, so I wanted to say it several times. They wanted some signs to advertise the industrial park. And on the former Pullum Industrial Park site, which has now been renamed because it has such a derogatory meaning to it as the Pullum industrial site. The only place there is to put signs up is on Pullum's property.
Because he kept all the frontage along the road,
Right.
and the county owns no frontage for their $3.2 million.
Ladies and gentlemen, go to the property appraiser's webpage and punch it up yourself. In this transaction, you, the taxpayers, for $3.2 million, got nothing but interior property and 2 driveways to get to it. We don't, actually the county does not own a place to put a sign along Highway 87 because it all belongs to the Pullum Experience. Now,
so he's deeded these tiny little post hole size, just about,
right,
pieces of land so the county can buy signs to advertise
right,
our property and his property. Buy signs and put the signs along the road. He's graciously deeded these little teensy spots.
right. And here's my big problem. I'm not denying the fact that anybody who wants their industrial property marketed, there has been no picking and choosing on that. If anybody goes to the county and
Right.
says we'd like, that's fine.
Right.
My problem is that the Pullum Experience has never developed an industrial park. They are in real estate sales only,
Right.
period, end of story.
Yeah.
I understand if the county wants to advertise, for example, 84 Lumber who had gone out of business, you want to have that on there, I understand that. Commissioner Bob Cole runs through a whole list of things that we advertise, and the point that I made to him was everything that you talked about is a failed business where there's infrastructure already there.
Right.
This is a private individual who owns private real estate, who is in the real estate marketing business. His only interest is to sell real estate. And I've got 5 employees at Team Santa Rosa. I got the planning and zoning department. $3.2 million of your money, ladies and gentlemen, went to buy an interior piece of property that doesn't have a road, a water, or power to it. And to add insult to injury, we're going to buy $25,000 worth of signs, and we're going to stick it on the Pullum Experience property.
Yes.
And
But you do get a very nice little post hole size piece of land deeded to the people of Santa Rosa.
keep on, I'm going to pick up the stick and hit you with it. I got a stick over here off camera. She's poking the bear right now, ladies and gentlemen.
And they may want to buy more property from him.
Yeah, folks, this will blow you away. If $3.2 million was not enough, little birdies are talking to me on a regular basis, and we the county, we're thinking about buying some more property from the Pullum Experience. And I'm going to tell you, folks.
Because the other stuff's selling so well. We're going to run out soon.
You know, look, we got 250 acres in the industrial park north of Highway 90. We've got industrial park, the aviation industrial park with nobody in it. We've got an industrial park in the north end of the county with nothing in it.
Don't forget the 170 acres.
We've got 170 acres right near the GO prison with nothing on it. You know, and because of all the expenditures, we don't have any money to put any infrastructure in. So it's going to continue to be dirt, rocks, and trees.
Yeah.
You know, it's pitiful. Look, I understand, folks. They took their vote. I am insignificant in the Board of County Commissioners' eyes. They took a vote, and it was 5-0 to go ahead and put those signs on Pullum's property. But I stand on principle, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you, Deborah, another principle that I stand on that I will never forget, and that is the fact that Bob Cole was the swing vote. He was the deciding factor in a $3.2 million boondoggle of a purchase to buy that interior property. I don't care what he says. He can justify it any way he wants to.
It was a 3-2 vote.
It was a 3-2 vote, and Bob Cole was one of the 3 that voted for it.
Now, we spoke to Prudence Caskey, who's running for that seat, on the Santa Rosa County Commission. We spoke to her and we asked her about this, and here's what she said.
Right.
I think that this is another example of us having to pay private businesses with taxpayer dollars. This is ridiculous. We still have no road frontage. We're having land deeded out to us to put up signs. Most of the land, or the land that the signs are going to be on, we don't even own because we have no road frontage. It just seems to be more of the same with this commission, unfortunately.
Well, you know, look, Prudence Caskey grasped it. She understands. I'm quite confident that Jim Melvin understands. The only problem is he won't be sworn in for a few more days. But I'll tell you what, I don't think he's going to be part of the Pullum experience. I'm quite confident of that. But you know, folks, you run for office when you have a record to run on. I can't say it enough. Well, we should have never bought that property. We had a $3 million hole in our budget. Folks, we laid some of your neighbors off. Now, we laid some of your friends and neighbors off who no longer have a job that was doing a job for the county because we didn't have enough money to pay them. But we got some fine real estate out of the deal.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that all these millions they spent on this industrial property and all this other economic development stuff, the point of this is supposedly there's going to be jobs created from it. Please tell me where the jobs are. Please tell me where the jobs are.
Deborah and I have thrown this challenge out many times before, ladies and gentlemen. Millions of dollars in advertising and salaries.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars in the purchase of property. And we're backing up. Another business just closed and the business is for sale.
Yeah.
On and on and on, the story is the same.
Well, and why does Team Santa Rosa need $50,000 more to do a job that, I mean, from what I understand of what their job is, that would be part of their normal duties.
Absolutely.
So I'm not getting why they need more money for marketing when they are a marketing organization to begin with.
Well,
we were told.
Let's go back and find out why Cindy Anderson is the head of Team Santa Rosa in economic development, who does not have 1 inch of experience nor a degree in it.
Well, I mean that's in all fairness not a real subject that you get a degree in to begin with. But that's another story entirely. But we spent $200,000 for the tanker marketing, and I mean we saw a couple of binders with some name lists and things like that in there. I don't see any sign of jobs from that.
It was pretty.
I mean, we've signed this contract. They're going to do this economic development function. We're supposed to pay them, and they do the job. We're paying for this service, and there's all these extra expenses that seem to be cropping up. I mean, when's it going to end, I guess is my question. Yeah. And why aren't they responsible for that to begin with? Well,
it's just a sad, sad story, another sad chapter in Santa Rosa County. Folks, don't forget, got an election coming up. You can solve some of these problems. Be part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem. And we appreciate your time. I'm Jerry Kuitt.
Thanks for watching. Good night.